Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. I want to get this over with because I've got something more important to go do. Raw from March 31st, 2014 from Washington, D.C. Show starts. The Undertaker comes out. Big surprise there. I wasn't even sure. Like, it started playing his music and the lights went out and everything, and I'm like, is this going to be somebody in Undertaker's clothes or whatever? No, it was actually him. Anyways, I think it was either while he was coming out or... Yeah, it was while he was coming out. We got a recap from last week of his little casket trick that he did. And he's finally in the ring because, once again, he takes fucking forever to get into the damn ring because his hips are so shot and he takes forever to walk down. He finally starts talking, whatever the fuck, and he says that Brock will rest in peace. And as he finishes saying that, Brock's music hits and he comes out with Heyman to the stage. And Heyman starts talking. And immediately there's a CM Punk chant. And... trying to remember exactly what Heyman said, but it was something to the effect of, he says, Brock will end the streak at WrestleMania, and that's not a promise, it's a spoiler. He literally said that. It's a spoiler. Which is horse shit, because I really don't think so. So that's the end of their promo, and him and Brock go to leave, but they stop. Mostly it's Brock, and he's like, no, I want to go down and get some of him. They go down to the end of the ramp, and Brock stops, and they're faking like they're going to leave again, and then they go down to the ring, and he stops again, and Brock circles around the ring, and they go over by the commentators, and Heyman kind of stops there, but Brock continues to circle around, and he goes back over by the ramp. Meanwhile, Heyman tries to sneak in from behind with a chair. Undertaker stops him, of course, but Brock comes in the other side from behind, and he tries to attack Taker, but Taker fights him off. But he goes to Irish whip him, and Brock reverses it, and then clotheslines the fuck out of the dead man. And he just lays him the hell out with his clothesline. And then Brock picks up Taker, gets him up on his shoulders, and he hits the F5 on him. And this just completely wipes out Taker. And the commentators are like, oh my god, if he does that at WrestleMania, the streak is over. And I'm like, no, you stupid fuckers, no. It will take 2, 3, or more F5s to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. One of them ain't gonna do it. Taker never gets pinned. He never gets pinned even in normal matches to just one finisher. Even in normal matches, you still gotta hit him with 2, 3, or more fucking finishers to beat him. Let alone at WrestleMania. You're not fucking beating him at WrestleMania, Brock. But anyways, he hits the F5 on him, he gets out of the ring, and him and Heyman, they leave, whatever, and they cut to commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we get a replay of what just happened. Moving on. Big E's music hits, and he comes out. And then Del Rio's music hits, and he comes out. And we get a decent match between these two. It started off kind of boring. So much so that the fans actually started chanting boring, but I'll get to that. The first thing that I noticed from the match that happened was Big E was face down, lying on the mat in the corner, and Del Rio dragged him over to the post and brought his hands out and put him on the ring steps. And then Del Rio jumps up and stomps on his hand. Don't know what the fuck that was all about. Shortly after that, there was a commercial break, and then after that was when we got the boring chant from the crowd. Big E went for the big ending, but Del Rio slips down the back and counters by going into the back cracker, or the back stabber, whatever you want to call it. Del Rio goes for the cross arm breaker. At first, Big E's trying to fight it off. He won't let him lock it all the way in. But then Del Rio finally does get it locked all the way in, but Big E, because of course he's so big, he's able to use his upper body strength to lift Del Rio up and basically powerbomb him to break out of it. After that, for some strange reason, Big E gets Del Rio in the corner and puts him up on the top rope like he's going to superplex him. But he goes up there with him, and Del Rio headbutts him, and Big E falls back, but he's still holding onto the ropes. And so obviously Del Rio comes crashing down with that big stomp, stomping Big E into the mat. And pretty much right after that, he did the concussion kick, and he nails it, and he gets the win. So for some stupid reason, Del Rio just beat the Intercontinental Champion. Even though Del Rio's leaving the company soon, and Big E's our Intercontinental Champion, we really should be trying to put him over. I don't know if maybe they're trying to make Del Rio stay. Don't know why they would want to. Nobody really cares about him, so you might as well let him go. But anyways, after that, they say, we're going to do another app vote. And for this time, the voting is going to be who Kane's opponent is going to be later on tonight. Which one of the members of the Shield is he going to go against? Reigns, Rollins, or Ambrose? After that, they hype up the main event for the night, which is the match that was supposed to headline WrestleMania, but it got changed, which is also the match that nobody fucking cares about, and that's Randy Orton versus Batista. Excuse me a second. Anyways, after the hype for that, they also say something about the Authority, Triple H and Stephanie, are going to have a farewell to the Yes Movement. And that'll also be later on. And then they also hype up something about the Wyatts, and they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we get a recap from last week, the match between Cena and Harper, which ended in bullshit when the lights went out, and when they came back on, Cena was down wearing the sheep mask, and whatever. That basically serves as a segue into the Wyatts cutting a promo on the Titantron, of course, talking about Cena and who really gives a fuck what they say. After that, we got a clip from the episode of Total Divas with Natalya being slapped by Summer Rae. And again, that only really serves to feed into, we're going to have a match between these two. Summer comes out, and all of a sudden she has her own music and Titantron. Yeah. And the music actually wasn't terrible. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all that great, but it wasn't god-awful like most of the Divas musics are. But she comes out, and then we cut to a commercial, and when we come back, Vicky Guerrero is on commentary for some stupid reason. And then Natalya comes out. And like I said, what we proceeded to get is a match between Summer and Natalya. The match was ass, obviously. There was some bullshit, yada yada. Summer slapped Natalya again. And of course that pissed off Natalya. She shoved her, slapped her back, and yada yada. Natalya was going for the sharpshooter. Summer kicks her off and rolls out onto the apron. Natalya goes to grab her, and the ref's in there, and they're kind of tussling, fighting, and Natalya finally gets kicked in the head by Summer. The kick looked really weak, but Natalya sold it like it was gruesome death. Summer scrambles into the ring, makes the cover, 1, 2, 3, and Summer gets the win with a really lame kick to the side of the head from the apron. Summer was on her back, on the apron, and just kind of kicks up with a really weak kick, and apparently this was enough to knock out Natalya long enough for a 1, 2, 3. This was weak. It made Natalya look fucking weak. Who cares? Moving on. We cut backstage to Triple H and Stephanie, who are coming through one of the hallways, of course, and they're coming out to give their farewell address to the Yes Movement. That's going to be next, and they cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the commercial break, Triple H's King of Kings shit hits, and him and Steph come out. Stephanie talks and Triple H talks, and they're just basically kind of talking like, you people are so fickle, you know. The whole Daniel Bryan thing, you don't even really care about him himself. You just want to feel like you're a part of something, you know. Like they think this Yes Movement is just some fad. And they happen to bring up, they say, what was that one thing about a year ago after WrestleMania that they were doing the fandangoing thing, the dancing thing, yeah. They actually bring that up, and they say that, yeah, you guys have totally forgotten about him. And Triple H even says, yeah, Fandango, he's not a bad kid. He's like a solid B+ or maybe like an A- player, whatever the fuck. So still kind of burying Johnny, but I don't know, not really. Stephanie says that Bryan won't be here again. And shortly after that, there's another boring chant from the crowd. And again, I don't blame you, people. This is boring, but you know what? These assholes are yelling at the crowd saying that you people don't really do anything. You're too lazy to do anything. You just want to feel like you're a part of something. You know what, people? It's time to show them you're not going to insult us anymore. Start throwing shit at these assholes. Throw your drink cups. Throw your nacho, little plastic container thingies. Throw anything. Throw a shoe for all I care. Show these motherfuckers we're not going to take your bullshit anymore. Or better yet, just fucking leave. Leave and go ask for a fucking refund and tell these assholes. You are not going to insult our intelligence anymore. Enough of this shit, people. Stop taking the abuse from these assholes. Finally, I believe it was Stephanie segued into a video package that they show of Triple H's opponents. You know, all these people who came up and said that they were going to take out Triple H. You know, but they were all just people who were playing the game. You know. More talking, and finally Batista comes out. And he talks. I don't really care what he said. Then Randy comes out to complete the trifecta of ass. Boring ass. Randy comes out and talks, and he basically kisses Triple H's ass. And Triple H even kind of calls him out on that, and he says basically, you know, Randy, you need to find the Viper real quick, because if you don't, there's no chance in hell you're walking out at WrestleMania as the champion. And then Triple H proceeds to say that this match between Randy and Batista that's supposed to be later, it's now a no disqualification match. And that's the end of the segment. Fucking whatever. Commentators hype up that we're going to have a special WrestleMania edition of Piper's Pit here later on tonight. And then they say, oh yeah, more shit about the app vote again, and then they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, they actually do confirm finally that the pre-show for WrestleMania will in fact be 2 hours. The first hour will be available on YouTube and Facebook and a bunch of other shit as usual. However, the second hour of the pre-show will only be available on the WWE Network. So, why? I don't know or care. I'm gonna have to sit through it anyways. 6 fucking hours of this boring shit for WrestleMania this Sunday. 6 hours. And apparently, that's still not enough time to get an Intercontinental title match or a United States title match. And also during the course of the show, I don't remember where, but they announced that the tag team title match, the Fatal 4-Way tag team title match, is going to be the pre-show. Or it's going to be on the pre-show. So, you've got 4 hours of pay-per-view, and you're bumping one of the only of the few announced matches, you're bumping that to the pre-show. So these other matches that are going to happen on the actual pay-per-view, they had better be long as fuck to kill 4 damn hours. Either that, or it's going to be a hell of a lot of filler, video packages, and promos. Which is just going to be boring filler. God damn. And probably musical performances. They also announced that Kid Rock has a song that's the official theme of WrestleMania. Ugh, he'll probably have another performance. Didn't he perform at WrestleMania a couple of years ago and it was awful? And he performed for the Divas when they were coming out for their big Who Was Miss WrestleMania or some shit. Anyways, moving on. Oh yeah, speaking of the teams, the tag teams, and when they announced the whole tag team title thing was going to be on the pre-show, yeah, cutting back into the arena, we've got all 4 teams from said tag team title match. They're all already in the ring. And the Usos music is playing. But what this is an 8-man tag team match, 4-on-4. The Usos and the Matadors, of course, the face teams, versus the heel teams, Rybaxel and the Real Americans. And this is going to be a match. And it turns out to be a boring match. Boring shit. There's a clusterfuck, and then they go to a commercial. And then Cesaro does his catch into the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker thing on one of the Usos. There's another big fucking clusterfuck. And what ends up happening is Swagger is legal with one of the Matadors. The Matador comes jumping off the top rope for like a crossbody or whatever, but Swagger sidesteps him, catches his leg again right into the Patriot Lock. Gets broken up by somebody, probably the other Matador. And what happens is the Matadors, since they're wearing those goofy masks and you can't really see their faces, they do the Bella Twin switch. And so the fresh one comes in, takes the place of the one who was in the ankle lock, acts like he's hurt, and then as soon as the referee turns back around and Swagger comes over, the Matador grabs Swagger in a small package and gets the win. So the Usos and the Matadors win the match with a cheap fucking switch and a small package. Who cares? Moving on. More hype for Randy and Dave, no DQ, commercial break. Coming back from the break, Fandango is finishing his entrance with Summer. And Damian Sandow is there too. We're getting another tag team match. Oh yeah, and the Rhodes brothers, Cody and Goldust, they're also there as well. So we get the Rhodes versus Johnny and Sandow, another boring match. I had exactly one highlight of this match, and that's the finish. Goldust hits the curtain call on Sandow and gets the win. Then the commentators hyping up another segment, the Hounds of Justice. Apparently we're going to hear from the Shield, and that'll be next, and they cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the commercial break, we get a recap from SmackDown of the 4-way tag team match, which was supposed to be a qualifier for whatever the fuck. And then, of course, that led to the Shield getting the shit beat out of them by Kane and the Outlaws. And then that segues into more crap about the app vote again. And then it segues into the Shield up on the Titantron cutting another one of their usual promos. And it was a decent promo. All 3 of them got to talk. And Basically, they said, you don't mess with the Shield. Believe in that and believe in the Shield, whatever the fuck. And that gets cut off by the Wyatts coming out. And their entrance gets cut off by them cutting to a commercial break. Because, again, the Wyatts' entrance is so long and boring. Coming back from the commercial, they announced that tomorrow night for main event, we're going to get a match between Sheamus and The Miz. Coming back from the commercial, R-Truth is in the ring. Xavier Woods is on the outside of the ring, and Bray Wyatt is also in the ring, so we're getting this match again, Bray versus Truth. And it's another boring squash match. Bray did that weird move where he had the guy like a fallaway slam, but then he spins him around into a rib breaker. So he did that again, and then he hit the Sister Abigail and won. Whoop-de-doo. After the match, Xavier jumps into the ring to kind of cover up Truth and like check on him, you okay, only to get his ass kicked by Harper and Rowan. They throw him out of the ring. Truth is already out of the ring. And Bray gets down on his knees and does his pose with Harper and Rowan over his shoulders, And the lights go down low and there's a spotlight on Bray. And from out of the darkness behind Bray and in between Harper and Rowan, you can see somebody else come up. Wearing, the coveralls, the prison jumpsuit look basically, with a sheep mask. So there's a fourth guy there, wearing the sheep mask. Of course, Rowan is still wearing his, and he kind of turns over, and he's like looking at the guy sideways, like, who in the fuck are you? And Harper looks over, and he's like, who in the fuck? And then Bray gets up, and he's like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking, how stupid can you guys be? They stare at him for ages until finally the guy lifts up the mask. Lo and behold, as if it took a genius to figure this out, it's Cena, who beats the hell out of Harper, sends him running, gets Rowan up, hits the attitude adjustment on him, goes to hit the attitude adjustment on Bray, but Bray gets out of the back and gets out of the ring. Jesus Christ. So yeah, Bray and Harper and Rowan, they back up the ramp, and Bray even falls on his fat ass, and who the hell cares? That segment's over. More hype for the Piper's Pit segment. More shit for the app vote. And more hype for Randy and Dave, the main event, no DQ match, and then they cut to a commercial break finally. Coming back from the commercial break, we get the Raw Rewind from last week. Vicky announcing the Vicky Invitational Divas thing, which, by the way, I believe it's during this match, Vicky from commentary, she's not on commentary. No, she was on commentary earlier during the Summer and Natalia match. It was during that. Vicky and they asked her, what exactly will this Divas Invitational match entail? And Vicky said, it's one fall to a finish. So this isn't a battle royal, it's not a gauntlet match. This is like a 13 or 14 woman match. Everybody for themselves. First fall wins the Divas title. And of course Cole was like, how is that fair to AJ? And I don't even think Vicky tried to cover it up. She's just like, it's not fair. And I'm like, you dumb cunt. Anyways, getting back to where we were, the rewind of Vicky announcing the Invitational, whatever the fuck, we cut back to the arena. AJ's music is playing. She's already in the ring. And so is Naomi, who is no longer sporting her eye patch. Apparently her eye boo-boo is all better now. And she's no longer wearing that atrocious, bedazzled eye patch, or the ugly silvery star thing she was sporting last week. Why would they have her wrestle with an eye patch on? Leave her on the sidelines, let her heel, and let Cameron Better yet, let's not have Cameron wrestle, because that's even worse. Anyways, AJ's in the ring, Naomi is in the ring, and all the other divas are around the ring. This is a Lumberjill match. So, yeah, obviously this is your normal kind of lumberjack match. You know, Naomi gets thrown out on the face side of the divas, and they don't do shit. They just let her get back in the ring, and AJ complains. Meanwhile, AJ gets thrown out on the same side. She gets grabbed and thrown back into the ring. Immediately at the start of the match, there's a CM Punk chant. And apparently Vicky was watching from the stage. Whatever the fuck. AJ gets thrown out, she rolls out of the ring on the heel side and goes up against the announcer table. And it even looks like the heel divas want to beat the shit out of AJ and throw her back in. But Tamina jumps in front of her to try to protect her. And the other divas are just like, fuck you. They beat the shit out of Tamina, throw her out of the way, and they grab AJ and throw her back into the ring. Just so AJ can take the rear view from Naomi and get pinned clean. So Naomi wins in a shit match. By the way, the crowd was dead as soon as Naomi won, because nobody fucking cares about Naomi. Nobody cares about Cameron or Naomi or the Bella Twins. Nobody cares about Eva Marie. The only way we care about her is we hate her for being so obnoxiously bad. Nobody really cares about Natalya that much, or Summer Rae, or Layla, who only just came back last week. Nobody cares about Alicia Fox or Oksana. Any of the divas. AJ is the only one that people actually care about. And it should be that way, because AJ's the only one that actually cares about her job. Well, Natalya cares, but Jesus, after that terrible match earlier with Summer, I should have mentioned, when Natalya went for the sharpshooter, originally it looked like she was going to try to just turn her over for like a Boston Crab, but then I think she must have remembered, oh yeah, I got to do the sharpshooter, so she puts her legs through to tie her up, and then Summer kicked her off. Whatever the fuck. Anyways, lousy match is lousy, let's move on. They hype up some more shit for Cena and the Wyatts, and I was like, didn't we already just do that? And they cut to a commercial. And what they were alluding to, we come back from commercial, and we're backstage with Renee Young, who is interviewing John Cena. And he says, yada yada, I'm fighting for my legacy. So, Bray was saying earlier how he's going to expose Cena for what he really is, which is a monster. And so Cena says, you know what? At WrestleMania, you're going to see the monster. Because being a monster for one night is worth being remembered for the rest of history, or whatever the fuck. Really lousy promo from Cena, his usual kind of crap. Whatever. After that, the commentators segue into the Raw pre-show panel. Yeah, Raw has a pre-show panel. I remember saying that a couple weeks back, but they haven't really done much with it. And so yeah, it's Josh Matthews with Booker T and Alex Riley, and their special guest this week, Bad News Barrett. They talk, and I don't give a fuck, so let's move on. We get a recap of the first segment with Brock and Undertaker from earlier. And then Cole and JBL, whatever the fuck they talk, and they segue into Jerry Lawler, who's standing in the ring, of course, to do the results for the app vote. And the results come up overwhelmingly 80%, or some such like that, voted for Roman Reigns. And so he's going to be the one to take on Kane. The Shield music hits, and Reigns comes out by himself. No Rollins, no Ambrose, he just comes out by himself. And then they cut to a commercial break. And coming back from the commercial break, Kane comes out, and it's really bothering me at this point. Kane still has his usual music, his red lights, and his pyro, even though he's all corporate now. He comes out in his suit pants with, like, elbow pads and his boots, and he's got, like, his gloves on or whatever the fuck. But, like, he's all corporate now. Shouldn't he have different music and, like, no special lights and no pyro? I don't know. Whatever. We get the match between Reigns and Kane. And it actually wasn't so bad. The first thing I noticed is Reigns charged at Kane only to eat a big boot to the face that just freaking laid Roman out hard. Kane went for the choke slam, but Reigns grabbed him by the arm and broke out of it. And he hit Kane a couple of times, got him throated on the bottom rope. And of course, this goes into Roman bails out of the ring, runs around the corner, jumps up and drop kicks Kane in the face, the apron drop kick thing. So Roman's starting to get some momentum, and then all of a sudden the camera cuts over, hey look, here come the Outlaws from the stage. And as they're coming up, you see even more behind them. Here come Rollins and Ambrose behind them, and they attack Billy and Road Dogg and lay them the fuck out. They get laid out by Rollins and Ambrose. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Reigns was setting up to do the Superman punch on Kane when the Outlaws came out. So after the distraction and all that shit, Kane went to like clothesline Roman, but Roman ducked it, hits the ropes, and Superman punches him anyways and lays out Kane. And then all of a sudden, Roman's in the ring, Kane's on his back, and then Rollins and Ambrose are in the ring too. And they're all surrounding Kane. And so they're like, fuck it. Rollins starts kicking the shit out of Kane, and they all join in. DQ. Match is over. I guess Kane wins by DQ, but I don't think they really care. They start beating him up. They go to give Kane the fall of justice, but Kane's over by the ropes, and the Outlaws grab Kane by the legs to trip him and pull him out of the ring, and they save him from getting the fall of justice. But, you know, the Shield's standing tall, and, you know, I don't know, though. Maybe they won't break up the Shield at WrestleMania. I hope they don't. Because like I said before, they just turned face. There's plenty of stuff you could do with them as faces. You know, you can have them beat Kane and the Outlaws, have them go over there, have them beat up some other big heels, have them turn on the Authority. Jesus Christ, I mean, fuck's sake. Whatever. After that segment, Piper's Pit is up next. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from commercial, they announced that Hulk Hogan's going to be on SmackDown this Friday. Whoop-de-doo. Apparently for the first time in like 10 years. Yeah, well, the first time he'd been on Raw in 10 years was a couple of weeks back, so who gives a shit? Anyways, coming back into the arena, Justin Roberts introduces Piper, and Piper's music starts playing, but he's already in the ring. And he starts talking about Andre and the Battle Royal, which of course prompts a big goddamn clusterfuck. First, here comes The Miz, who interrupts, and we get a really back and forth, and finally, whatever the fuck, Sheamus comes out, and he interrupts as well. And I had to write this down because it was another funny thing. As Sheamus is coming out, he says to The Miz, you know, Miz, there's an old saying, it's better to have people think you're dumb, but keep your mouth shut, than to open your mouth and erase all doubt. And I'm thinking, well damn, Sheamus, that's the same thing I think about you, you dopey fuck. Anyways, but after Sheamus gets in the ring, all of a sudden there's Titus O'Neil's music and his dumbass comes out. And all the while, every time somebody interrupts, Piper is like, really? I'm talking here. And he's getting really pissed off. I don't know why. I'm sure he knows how this shit's going. But after Titus comes out and says his dumb shit, Ziggler comes out. And he's like, I really hate to come out here and steal the show. Oh, no way. I'm just kidding. That's totally my thing. And I love you, Ziggler. Why aren't you being pushed, man? I swear, these idiots who book and write this shit don't know what they're doing. Anyways, but with the four of them in the ring, Miz, Sheamus, Titus, and Ziggler, Piper's like, you know what, I know where this is going. And he puts his hand on Miz's shoulder. He says, Miz, you're a good kid. And then he just, pokes him in the eye. And it just starts a big brawl between the four of them. And here come a bunch more guys from the Battle Royal. The ring fills up. We got bullshit going on. And then Rey Mysterio's music hits, and he comes running out. Big bunch of shit going on there. And then, of course, Big Show's music hits. And I should have mentioned, when Miz interrupted, Piper was trying to say, I'd like to introduce the odds-on favorite for the Andre Battle Royal. And that's where Miz interrupted, because he's saying, I'm the odds-on favorite and shit. Yeah, but the real odds-on favorite, the Big Show, comes out. And as soon as he rolls into the ring, everybody gangs up on him, of course, because that's always the thing in these Battle Royals, is always go for the big guy, the biggest threat. They gang up on Show, but he's able to fight him off, and he clears the ring of everybody but Rey Mysterio. And Rey's over by the ropes. He even kind of gets down on one knee, and he's like, please, Show, don't hit me, whatever. And Show's like, okay, fine. And he turns over towards the entrance ramp, and then Rey, surprisingly, acts like a heel. Big Show's got his back turned. Rey hits the ropes on the other side of the ring, goes through the ropes, and does the 619 and kicks Show in the stomach. And I'm thinking Show's like, oh, you kicked me in the dick, bro. But yeah, he does the 619 and he kicks him in the stomach, and then he springboards and tries to do the senton on Big Show, which is a dumb fucking move, you little idiot. Somebody that big is going to catch you, and that's exactly what happens. And I'm thinking, yeah, powerbomb his ass to the floor and break him in half. But no, he turns him around, gets him like a gorilla press, and throws him out of the ring on top of the big pile of dudes who are over there. And so, yeah, whatever. Big Show standing tall. Excuse me. Big Show standing tall. And will we see this same thing at WrestleMania? Probably, but I don't really care, because it's a worthless, meaningless match for a worthless, meaningless trophy. Moving on, more hype for Randy and Dave, no DQ. We cut to a commercial. Coming back, we get another rewind from last week, this time the segment with Randy, Batista, and Stephanie, where Batista was talking about Stephanie getting drooled on. Whatever. Batista's music hits, and even in his hometown of Washington, D.C., he gets fucking no reaction. I think the crowd popped, but only for a brief minute, when Roberts, the ring announcer, says, from Washington, D.C., they're like, oh, Washington, yay, and they popped for just a millisecond, but then they went back to being dead quiet for Batista, because then Roberts is like, from Washington, D.C., they're like, yeah, and then they go Batista, and they're just like, So yeah, Batista gets basically no reaction aside from Roberts announcing his hometown, and they're like, yeah, well, Washington, oh yeah, no, never mind. And then Randy comes out, and he gets no reaction either. And then they're standing there looking at each other like we're going to start the match, and then King of Kings hits again. And out comes Triple H and Stephanie, who also get no reaction. And they go over and they sit at the commentary desk to do commentary during the match. So the match starts, and immediately they go out of the ring and start brawling. They're just whacking each other. Immediately, one of them grabs a chair. They're hitting each other with the chair. They're hitting each other off of the commentary desk. They're banging each other into that. It's just a big brawl. That's about all these two can fucking do at this point, because it's just boring. Batista has Randy down, still on the outside of the ring. It's no DQ, so there's no count out as well, which is bullshit, because they didn't say it was no count out. But yeah, Randy's down over by the ring. Batista goes over to the timekeeper thing to go grab another chair, and as he comes back over to Randy, Randy whacks him out of nowhere with a kendo stick. Another one that he just magically pulled out of his ass. But he starts whacking the shit out of Batista with this kendo stick. Gets him back in the ring, cinches him in the ropes, gets the rope DDT. And then from out of fucking nowhere, the camera cuts over to Triple H, who is all of a sudden being attacked by Daniel Bryan, who's just beating the shit out of him. He's got him pinned up on the commentary table. He's like laying on it. Bryan's just beating the shit out of him, just raining down punches. Randy comes out of the ring for no reason to try to stop Bryan. Bryan shoves him off. He goes back to punching Triple H. Randy grabs him again and pulls him off and throws him into the ring steps. And then, let's see. Bryan gets thrown into the ring by Randy. There's a big Daniel Bryan chant, yeah. Randy gets in the ring and gets speared by Batista. And so Randy's down. Batista eats a roundhouse kick from Bryan, and then Bryan backs into the corner, comes charging, and hits the big super knee on Batista, which lays Batista the fuck out. Bryan gets back up, he hits the ropes, and he suicide dives out of the ring on top of Triple H to go back after him. And he's chasing Triple H around, trying to grab him and whacking him, and he grabs the kendo stick and he starts whacking the fuck out of Triple H with the damn kendo stick. And of course there's big yes, yes, yes chants. And Triple H runs off. Ow, fuck. Just banged my knuckles against the fucking desk. I'm okay, though. But yeah, so Bryan's beating the shit out of Triple H with the fucking kendo stick. And finally, Trips runs off up the ramp, and there's Stephanie, who's basically holding him back. And the match is pretty much over at this point. No contest. Even though it was a no DQ match... Oh, too much is happening, we just can't keep going with this match. No. It's done. Not only that, but this was supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania. We can't just give away the whole match on on free TV. So yeah. Triple H is being held back by Stephanie. They're backing up the ramp and trying to go out through the curtain. And Bryan, meanwhile, is up on the turnbuckle. Yes, 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 and the fans chanting along, and that's how the show ends. So, aside from a small glimmer of hope at the end, we see Daniel Bryan finally, after like a week and a half. Aside from that, this match, or this show, still was not all that good. We got a bunch of crappy matches, maybe one or two decent ones, and then our main event with its non-finish, fucking no contest. Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was Raw, but again, as usual, I'll go over the matches. First one we got, Big E being defeated by Del Rio. Decent match. Really disappointing to see Del Rio win over the Intercontinental Champion, who really should be being built up. And then we got an atrocious Divas match. Summer Rae defeating Natalya with a weak-ass kick from the apron. It was really weak. So next match. Oh yeah, the Usos and Los Matadores defeated Ryback and the Real Americans in a boring 8-man tag match, which saw the Matadors use heel tactics to do the old switcheroo to get a small package and get the win. And then we saw the Rhodes Brothers defeat Fandango and Damian Sandow in another boring match. And then we saw Bray Wyatt defeat Truth again in another boring squash match. And then we saw Naomi defeat our Divas champion AJ in a shitty lumberjill match. And then we saw Kane defeat Roman Reigns by disqualification. Their match was okay. It was a big man match, but, you know, it was good hard-hitting shit, so... Like I said, it was decent. And then after that, the only match we got was Batista and Orton in the main event, which went to a no contest. And we got to see Daniel Bryan finally come back to get him some of Triple H. And it looked great, because Triple H got his ass kicked. Oh, jeez. You see, that motherfucker is what happens when you fight Daniel Bryan without his hands handcuffed behind his back. And that's exactly the fate that is waiting for you at WrestleMania this motherfucking Sunday in New Orleans. You shithead. There will be no end of the Yes movement. There will be no end of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan will finally get his big payoff, beat Triple H, beat Batista and Randy, win the damn title, and finally be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Or at least he better, because so help me God, if he don't, I'm done with this show. That has to happen, or I'm done with this show. Because there's no other way that I can think of that they could end WrestleMania that would keep me interested if Bryan doesn't win. There's only one other situation that I can think of that would even be remotely interesting. And that would be if Randy was to turn face and just absolutely demolish Triple H and Batista. You know, say if like Triple H beats Bryan, if they're that stupid to actually do that. Have Randy turn face, demolish Triple H and Batista to retain the title. Don't get me wrong, that would still suck compared to Bryan winning the whole damn thing, but... You know, Triple H is telling him, you better bring the Viper back, son, because if you don't, you're not walking out of WrestleMania as champion. I'm like, fuck that. The Viper was never really that good either. Randy needs to bring back the Legend Killer. And fucking kill this supposed legend of Triple H. There's not much of a legend to kill with Batista. His ass was never that legendary. Fucking punt kick Batista, punt kick Triple H, and pin them both at the same time while blowing Stephanie a kiss. That actually might make that whole thing worthwhile if that's what happened. Randy goes full-on face Uber Beast mode, destroys Triple H and Batista, pins them both, blows a kiss at Stephanie, and as he's leaving, slaps her on the ass. Or slaps her in the face. I'll take either one. The bitch deserves a big smack in the face. I'd love to see Paige debut and just beat the shit out of Stephanie. Or Vicky. Or... I don't know. Not AJ, though. I feel like AJ and Paige would be, like, best of friends. Because they're both, like, the sort of anti-diva. I mean, that's Paige's whole thing. I'm the anti-diva. What is AJ? She does not wear your typical sort of diva attire. She's got her cut-up t-shirts and her, what the fuck are her kind of shoes? They're not Doc Martens, they're, I don't know. But she's got her weird shoes that she's turned into boots. AJ's not your typical diva. But yeah. Enough rambling. I need to go do something else. That was Raw, as I said. From March 31st, 2014, from Washington, D.C., the shithole capital of this country. Yeah, even in his hometown, Batista gets no love. Sorry, Batista, you're just an asshole and nobody likes you. You never should have come back. We don't want you. We definitely don't need you. And so help me God, if WrestleMania ends with Batista as champion, yeah, that'll be it. I'll be done with the WWE. I don't even know if I'll watch Raw the next night and SmackDown. Seriously, if Triple H or Batista leaves WrestleMania as champion, that'll be it. Because I can't stomach either one of those two as champion. It'll be insufferable. At least if Randy maybe turns face, it wouldn't be so bad. He probably won't. Bryan needs to win this. Because if he doesn't, the whole last 6 months of him being built up and all the shit between him and Randy after Cena went away, you know, if Bryan doesn't win, all of that will be a complete waste. So it would be just completely, absolutely stupid to not have Bryan win here. But I suppose I should be saving this for my predictions topic. Anyways, as I said, that was Raw once again, March 31st, 2014 from Washington, D.C. Join us next time when we go over the spoilers for SmackDown. That should be either tomorrow or Wednesday. I have Wednesday off this week, so I should be able to get around and do it then. Yeah, folks. One small glimmer of hope at the end with Bryan attacking Triple H. That was really the highlight of the show, the only highlight. Because other than that, there was only a couple of decent matches, and even though they were decent, there was nothing really all that spectacular about them. And the rest of the matches were either shit or just not very good. So, yeah. Like I said, join us next time for SmackDown, and we will see you then.